How does that make sense? Usually a backup quarterback will get 15 to 20% of the reps in practice with the first team.
With the first team? Okay.
Yeah, just so he's prepared to go in the game if he has to, right? So if you have a team period of 12 snaps, the backup quarterback will get 2 to 3. The fact that he's not is weird.
The moment Chris Canty went live and unloaded on Kevin Stefanski, the entire NFL world felt the shockwave hit instantly. This wasn't some casual critique, some offhand remark, or a simple disagreement about play calling. Canty came in swinging with a full-on confrontation, blasting the Browns coaching staff for what he called a deliberate sabotage of Shadur Sanders' development.
2 rookie quarterbacks, the one that's starting has only had 3 games. I don't see that Dillon Gabriel is on the hot seat. I don't see that maybe this is his last start. I don't see that they're going to use the season to get reps for both of them. Every indication is they feel, for better or worse, they feel like Dillon Gabriel gives them the better option now and later, and thus he's the starting quarterback.
And the words hit harder than anything fans expected. For weeks, the tension had been building. First came Shedur's brutal debut with no first-team reps. Then came the viral post-game interview where Shadur exposed the lack of chemistry and preparation. Then came the leaked Dillon Gabriel interview that showed the level of pressure inside the Browns quarterback room. The entire situation was boiling, and Chris Canty was the first major NFL voice willing to say what millions of fans were already thinking. Kanty didn't mince words. Live on air with cameras rolling and the panel stunned, he said the Browns failed Shadur Sanders before he ever stepped onto the field. He accused the coaching staff of mishandling reps, mismanaging preparation, and putting a young quarterback in a situation designed to make him struggle.
No, I mean, with a young quarterback with Dillon starting, you want to make sure he gets a lot of the reps. Different when you have a veteran like Joe, I would tell you, but still getting reps in a bunch of periods.
Fetch, but they're clearly entertaining that. If that's a part of the math, then this is likely going to be the last start for Dillon Gabriel unless Dillon Gabriel takes the bull by the horns and has an unbelievable performance.
He questioned why a player drafted to be the future of the franchise was thrown into an NFL game without fundamental preparation. He called the lack of first-team reps unacceptable, unprofessional, and evidence that the Browns don't know how to develop quarterbacks at all. Fans immediately clipped the segment and pushed it across social media like wildfire. Hashtags erupted within minutes. Browns fans were furious, not at Canty, but at Stefanski, because everything Canty said reflected the frustration Cleveland fans had been screaming for weeks. Shedeur wasn't given a chance to succeed, and the coaching staff was acting like he didn't matter. Reporters on X began dissecting every word. Former players reposted the clip with comments like, "He's right and this is a mess." Analysts started asking whether Cleveland was incompetent or intentionally slowing Shedeur's rise.
I thought that Kevin Stefanski said earlier in the year that he is focused on the development of all of his young quarterbacks. Isn't that what he said? He was focused on the development of Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. That's what he got us. And now we're at the place where you're not going to get Shedeur reps. You're not going to prepare him for the games, knowing that he could be the number 2 quarterback? Knowing that he's one hit away from going in?
And fans in the comments didn't hold back. Many called the situation sabotage, a setup, or a betrayal of the future. Stefanski's name trended nationwide for all the wrong reasons. Instead of Coach of the Year conversations, the headlines now focused on Kanty's accusations. Instead of discussing Shedeur's potential, the discussion became about why Cleveland was treating him like an afterthought. Kanty's explosion opened the floodgates. Suddenly, every mistake, every questionable decision, and every unusual coaching choice from the past month looked suspicious. And more importantly, it looked intentional. Fans began revisiting practice reports, rep charts, and game film to determine whether Kanty was exposing something deeper than a bad coaching week. With one explosive rant, Kanty shifted the entire narrative. This wasn't about a rookie struggling. This was about a franchise in crisis, and a coaching staff now being accused of holding back its future star. Once Kanty's clip went viral, every sports network across the country mobilized.
If Dillon Gabriel doesn't show better than he has in the first 3 outings, then Shadur Sanders' time needs to be then. You owe it to yourself to find out what Shadur Sanders can and cannot do. You absolutely do. And so to me, it is a missed opportunity if they stay the course with Dillon Gabriel after the bye, if Dillon Gabriel doesn't show significant improvement against the New England Patriots this weekend. Like, you asked the question, what was the point of starting Dillon Gabriel? What was the point of drafting Shedeur Sanders? What was the point of keeping him on your active roster if you weren't going to play him at some point this season? It would literally be point.
Debate shows replayed the rant on loop, analysts gathered at roundtables, and digital reporters produced breakdowns explaining every layer of the situation. The Browns, already under scrutiny, suddenly found themselves drowning in national conversation. And while some voices defended Stefanski, the majority leaned toward Kanty's side because the evidence was impossible to ignore. The first issue, the rep distribution. Every former quarterback who analyzed the situation agreed that giving a young QB 0 first-team reps before his debut is beyond unusual. It's unheard of. It breaks every developmental rule. It breaks every preparation standard. It breaks the entire process of building timing, trust, and chemistry. And when Shedeur admitted in his press conference that he hadn't taken a real hit since Colorado, analysts immediately called out the coaching staff for treating him like a backup when he should have been treated as the future. Then analysts looked at the offensive game plan. Not only did Shedeur lack reps, but when he entered the game, the play calling didn't compensate for it.
Now, from a mental standpoint, you don't want to shake the confidence of your young quarterback in Dillon Gabriel, especially since he's been uneven across his first 3 starts. So maybe there is a little bit of protecting him to keep him from looking over his shoulder when it comes to the Shedeur of it all, because the media is clamoring for it. The fan base certainly wants to see it. Everybody wants number 12 in a Browns jersey to get out there so they can see what he wants to do, because he is one of the most polarizing figures in the NFL, mostly through no fault of his own. Maybe this is Kevin Stefanski trying to shield Dillon Gabriel from all of that. But to that, I would say, if you're that worried about the fragility of his mental state, then he's probably not your franchise quarterback anyway.
Normally, the backup would get a certain percentage of the reps, and the fact that Shedeur isn't does raise some eyebrows as to why not. I'm wondering what the motive is here for the Browns to not make sure that he's at least somewhat ready in a God forbid type scenario if Dillon Gabriel can't go and he needs to go out there and be the starter.
No rollout plays to slow down the pass rush. No quick screens to settle his nerves. No simplified reads to help him adjust. Instead, Stefanski's staff sent him straight into the Lions' den. A cold rookie facing the Ravens, the most aggressive defense in the league. Kanty highlighted all of this with fiery precision. He said the staff didn't protect Shedeur mentally or physically. He said they didn't respect the transition process. And he said the coaching staff created a scenario where Shedeur had no chance to succeed. Former players came forward agreeing with Kanty. Offensive linemen from around the league commented publicly, saying no rookie should be sent in without warnings. Quarterbacks said no team should treat its future like a disposable piece. And even some defensive players said they felt the Browns were careless with the way they handled Shedeur. All of this made Kanty's rant even more powerful. He wasn't talking in hypotheticals. The film backed him. The data backed him. The decisions backed him. Fans weren't defending Shedeur out of emotion, they were defending him out of logic. Then came the deeper question, why would Stefanski do this? Some analysts claimed it was incompetence, others said it was arrogance. Others suggested that maybe Stefanski didn't want to disrupt the current quarterback structure too early. But Kanty wasn't buying any of it. He said the Browns have no sense of urgency, no sense of responsibility, and no understanding of how to build a young quarterback. And that's when fans truly began turning on the coaching staff. Because this wasn't about favoritism. This wasn't about politics. This was about football ideology and whether the Browns even knew how to develop the player they drafted. Kanty's message was clear. If Cleveland doesn't change course, Shedeur's talent will be wasted. As the scandal grew, the Browns organization found itself facing a different kind of pressure, the kind that shakes locker rooms and forces uncomfortable conversations behind closed doors. Players reported that the atmosphere at practice felt tense. Coaches spoke more softly. Assistant staff looked uneasy. Even veterans seemed frustrated. Shedeur didn't say anything publicly after his initial comments, but his presence alone shifted the tone. And when the media repeatedly asked Stefanski about Kanty's accusations, his answers didn't calm anything. They made things worse. Stefanski dismissed the claims. He said there was no sabotage. He said the rep distribution was appropriate. He said the coaching staff believed in Shedeur. But the tone felt defensive, rehearsed, and disconnected from what fans and analysts had seen on the field. And every time he spoke, fans flooded the comment sections calling him a liar. Analysts compared Stefanski's responses to the actual game film, and the contradictions became crystal clear. Film showed instability in pass protection. Film showed predictable play sequences. Film showed Shedeur being sent into high-pressure situations without any transitional plays. Film showed receivers running routes that required years of chemistry, not a first-time connection. Kanty saw all this too, and he doubled down. Not only did he repeat his claims, but he also added something the fans weren't ready for, that he believed the Browns were internally divided about the quarterback position. He said the organization wasn't aligned. He said the front office and coaching staff weren't on the same page regarding the future, and fans felt the truth in that statement immediately, because the Browns' behavior reflected chaos, drafting a future franchise QB but refusing to prepare him, letting the media create narratives the team should control, not protecting either quarterback during interviews, and now dealing with a national firestorm ignited by a single analyst willing to speak loudly. In the locker room, players reportedly respected Shedeur for his honesty, but they were also worried about the conflict it would cause. The Browns roster had already gone through seasons of instability. Now they were facing something more dangerous than losing games, losing trust in leadership. Fans began calling for Stefanski to be replaced. Comment sections filling with, "We need a coach who believes in the future." And every day that passed without a stronger response from the Browns only made Kanty's message more powerful. This wasn't just a scandal anymore. This was an organizational wake-up call, and Cleveland was hitting snooze. Shedeur wasn't the problem. The coaching staff wasn't the victims. The structure itself was broken, and Kanty exposed it live on national television. As the backlash intensified, something unexpected happened. More NFL analysts started aligning with Kanty. Former quarterbacks, running backs, and coaches began releasing their own takes, explaining why the Browns' handling of Shedeur was unacceptable. The public consensus solidified. Cleveland had mishandled its rookie quarterback, and Stefanski was now facing the consequences. One analyst described the situation as football malpractice. Another said Shedeur was set up to fail. Yet another pointed out that Shedeur's rare composure after the game only emphasized how unprepared the team was around him, and every new take added fuel to the fire. Fans were now using words like betrayal, disrespect, and negligence. Cleveland radio shows lit up with callers demanding accountability. National reporters questioned whether Stefanski's staff even had a plan for integrating Shedeur into the system. And more importantly, many questioned whether the Browns were secretly afraid of Shedeur's rise. That speculation came from Kanty's most controversial claim. The Browns are holding Shedeur back on purpose. He didn't mean sabotage in the sense of malice. He meant sabotage in terms of resisting change. He argued that coaches sometimes cling to their comfort zones, their veteran players, and their established routines, even when the future is staring them in the face. Kanty said Cleveland didn't want to speed up the quarterback transition. They wanted Shedeur quiet, patient, controlled. They wanted him developing slowly, not rising quickly. And when Shedeur's natural leadership broke through the surface, the staff tried to put a lid on it. Fans rallied behind this theory because it made sense, because it explained everything, because it fit the timeline perfectly. A young quarterback with charisma and confidence threatens stability. He shifts the media spotlight. He changes locker room dynamics. He challenges comfort, and sometimes coaching staffs hesitate, not because of talent, but because of fear of change. Kanty argued that this hesitation had turned into harmful decision-making, that instead of embracing Shedeur's rise, the Browns were slowing him down, holding him back from reps, protecting the QB1 structure, maintaining the status quo, and in doing so, they sabotaged their own future. The NFL world recognized this pattern. Many franchises in the past delayed quarterback transitions and suffered for it. The Browns seemed to be repeating history, and Kanty was determined to expose it. What made this scandal even more explosive was the silence from the Browns players. Nobody defended Stefanski publicly. Nobody pushed back on Kanty's claims. And in the NFL, silence speaks. The louder Kanty got, the quieter the Browns became. And that imbalance made fans believe he was right. This wasn't just a rant anymore. It was the truth fans felt but didn't know how to articulate. By the time the dust settled, Chris Canty's explosion was no longer just a viral moment. It was a cultural shift inside the NFL media universe. He did what few analysts are bold enough to do. He called out a coaching staff by name, challenged their motives, questioned their decisions, and defended a rookie quarterback who deserved better. And the league responded, Cleveland responded, fans responded. Even players indirectly responded. The aftermath revealed something deeper. Shadur Sanders has become too big, too influential, and too important for the Browns to mishandle. His presence has shifted the direction of the franchise. His leadership has forced accountability. His honesty has changed the way fans view the organization. And the reaction to his treatment has triggered demands for systemic change. Kanty's rant didn't destroy Stefanski, but it exposed him. It exposed cracks in the system. It exposed laziness in preparation. It exposed a lack of vision when handling young talent. And most importantly, it exposed the truth fans had been whispering for weeks. Cleveland has a franchise quarterback, and they weren't treating him like one. Now all eyes are on the Browns. Every practice report is being studied. Every rep chart is being analyzed. Every press conference is being dissected. Every coaching decision is being scrutinized. And the pressure on Stefanski has never been heavier. But beneath all the criticism, something powerful is happening. Shadur Sanders is earning the trust of the fan base. Not through touchdowns, not through wins, but through resilience, through leadership, through fire. The scandal made him even more respected. Fans see him as the future. Analysts see him as the future. And even Kanty, through his explosive defense, positioned Shedeur as a player worth fighting for. Now the Browns must choose their path. They can adjust their system, prioritize development, and build the offense around Shedeur, or they can keep delaying the inevitable and face the backlash. Because one thing is clear, this scandal didn't break Shedeur, it built him. And as the NFL continues reacting, as media continues dissecting, and as fans continue rallying around him, one truth becomes undeniable. The Shadur Sanders era has begun, and there's no going back. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more NFL breakdowns, quarterback analysis, and powerful sports storytelling.